Beloved, receive this message with a calm heart. Something profound has taken place, far beyond what your eyes could see. Heaven didn't just observe your struggles. It answered them. Without noise, without announcement, a shift occurred in the unseen. Your place has been lifted quietly but intentionally. This wasn't a passing feeling or wishful thinking. A firm decision was made concerning your life, and now you're beginning to notice its ripple in your everyday moments. You've probably felt it. Mornings don't carry that same weight anymore. It's no longer about just getting through the day. There's a quiet strength rising within you, a steady calm that wasn't there before. It's as if something deep inside finally found solid ground, like your spirit decided, this is truth, stay here. And here's what matters, this didn't happen overnight. For a long time, heaven has been watching your journey, not to criticize, not to catch you slipping, but with care and attention. Every hidden sacrifice you made, it counted. Every quiet decision you thought no one noticed, it mattered more than you realized. That moment you chose silence instead of reacting, not forgotten. That day you showed up exhausted, carrying more than you let on, yet still chose to do what was right, that wasn't weakness, that was strength in its purest form. Those weren't ordinary moments. They were defining ones. As it is written in Psalm 66 verse 10, God refines his people like silver through pressure, through fire, through process. And now, that refining is beginning to show. If your life were a song, most people only heard the chorus, the strong, polished parts that sound easy and inspiring. But heaven listened to the verses. It paid attention to the quiet lines, the moments your voice almost broke, the pauses filled with uncertainty, the unfinished parts, the ones you weren't sure made sense. That's where your true story was written. Because what drew heaven's attention wasn't perfection or performance. It wasn't the image you presented. It was your response to pain. You didn't let suffering harden you. You didn't allow betrayal to turn you bitter. And even when truth cut deep, you refused to use it to wound others. Instead, you chose something rare, gentleness with strength. And that choice carried weight. This is why your position shifted. Spiritual authority isn't given to the loudest voice or the most visible person. It's entrusted to those who stay genuine when pretending would have been easier. Those who remain true when compromise seemed more convenient. Growth in the spirit isn't a trophy, it's recognition. Recognition of endurance. Heaven looked at your life and made a quiet conclusion. They can handle more and still remain who they are. You thought you were barely holding yourself together. But what was actually happening? Depth was forming. Maturity was growing. Leadership was being built. Far away from applause, far from recognition. Now take a moment and reflect on what you've just come through. You kept praying even when nothing made sense. You stayed disciplined even when your emotions weren't cooperating. You forgave people who never apologized and may never even acknowledge what they did. And slowly, piece by piece, you rebuilt your peace. Not in one big moment, but in quiet mornings, one after another. That's not weakness. That's authority. It means your spirit learned how to take control of what once controlled you. And heaven never ignores that kind of growth. Scripture says in James 1 verse 12 that the one who endures through trials will receive the crown of life. That endurance didn't just prepare your future. It proved you could be trusted. Because at a certain point, things change. It's like in an army. There comes a moment when a soldier is quietly called aside. No crowd, no applause, just a higher authority placing something new before them and saying, from now on, your responsibility increases. That's what just happened. Spiritually, you were called forward. Angels stepped back. Your journey stood behind you like a testimony, while every hidden detail of your life was reviewed. The tears you never showed, the restraint you practiced, the honesty you refused to compromise. And the conclusion was simple. They are ready. This wasn't symbolic. It was real. Something has been placed on your life. And even if you can't fully explain it, you felt the difference. Situations that used to drain you, they don't hit the same anymore. Conversations that once stirred anxiety, you respond with calm now. Even more, when tension rises around you, Peace seems to follow when you speak without force, without trying. That's not pride. That's elevation. Chosen one, this is what spiritual growth feels like before it becomes visible to others. The subtle, almost quiet, but powerful. It looks like moving with patience instead of urgency. It feels like losing interest in gossip and unnecessary noise. It's no longer needing to defend or explain yourself to everyone. It's finally being at peace, in places where you once felt the need to stay guarded. And if that feels unfamiliar, even a little strange, don't worry. That's what growth feels like when it's real. There's something about your presence now. It's steady in a way that can't be practiced or faked. It's natural, grounded, real. You've slowly become the very place of peace and safety you once searched for in others. And that is exactly why your level has changed. While many were busy trying to be seen, you were quietly becoming someone worth trusting. While others chased validation, you were collecting wisdom. And while some performed spirituality like a show, you lived it privately, sincerely, and every moment was noticed. As Proverbs 4 verse 18 reminds us, the path of the righteous keeps shining brighter, little by little, until it becomes full light. That's exactly what's happening in your life right now. So if things are starting to feel aligned, like your life is finally matching who you truly are, don't second guess it. You're not imagining anything. If your decisions feel clearer, if your voice feels calmer, you're not becoming distant, you're becoming established. This is what it looks like to stand in a place that heaven already prepared for you long before you recognized it. Even now, something has shifted behind the scenes. It's like your name has been moved into a new position, on a board you can't physically see, but you can definitely feel the effects of. You might notice a strange combination of things. More peace, but also more responsibility. Unexpected opportunities, but also deeper expectations. Quiet blessings, alongside moments that require more from you. That's not confusion, that's transition. Because when God gives you a new identity, it doesn't always come as a loud announcement. Most of the time, it shows up in how life begins to respond to you differently. You'll start to notice it. Situations don't treat you the same way anymore. Some changes feel soft and encouraging, others feel heavier, more demanding. But both are signs that something real has shifted. Because when heaven trusts you with more, it doesn't only release comfort, it also releases responsibility. Favor always comes with purpose attached to it. And one of the first places you'll see this change is in your relationships. People who once ignored your voice may suddenly start listening more carefully. Those who used to joke at your expense may no longer find the space to do so. Not because you became harsh or intimidating, but because something inside you no longer agrees to being undervalued. Your spirit simply refuses to participate in that role anymore. And yes, that will create distance, especially with people who benefited from the version of you that doubted yourself. The version that over-explained, over-apologized, and stayed small to keep the peace. They might say, "You've changed." They might call you distant, or even cold. But the truth is much simpler. You stopped shrinking just to make others comfortable. And that's not a loss. That's alignment. Now, this new level you've stepped into will show itself in 3 very clear ways. First, what you allow. You'll begin to feel a quiet resistance toward things that no longer belong in your life. Old habits, old environments, old roles you used to play. They won't feel tempting anymore. They'll just feel off. Not dramatic, not confusing, just clearly out of place. And the interesting part? You won't feel the need to over-explain your decision to walk away. You'll just know, because your spirit already decided. Second, who comes to you? You'll notice people opening up to you in ways that might surprise you. Strangers sharing personal thoughts. Family members bringing you their real concerns, not the filtered version. You might even hear people say, "I don't know why, but I feel safe talking to you." That's not something you learned overnight. That's something you carry now. As written in James 3 verse 17, wisdom from above is pure, peaceful, gentle, and full of mercy. That kind of wisdom is beginning to mark your presence, and people can feel it, even if they can't explain it. Third, how you hear God. It won't necessarily be louder or more dramatic. In fact, it might feel quieter but much clearer. A steady inner direction. This is the way. Let that go. Stay here. Not chaotic. Not confusing. Just grounded. That's not uncertainty, that's guidance. Now here's the truth many people don't talk about. Growth at this level doesn't mean everything suddenly becomes easy. Sometimes it means things become more serious. Conversations carry more weight. Decisions matter more. Even your words reach deeper, whether to build or to break. And that's exactly why this process took time. Because before this, heaven was watching how you handled pain when nobody noticed. Now, it's watching how you handle influence. At this level, certain things are no longer acceptable. You can't use your past to shame others. You can't use your confidence to make someone feel smaller. Because now what you carry has weight. And that means what you do with it matters more than ever. You'll also begin to notice something shifting inside your own mind. Your inner voice doesn't sound the same anymore. There was a time when you would replay conversations over and over, analyzing every word, wondering if you said too much or not enough. You tried to manage how people saw you, almost like editing your image in your own thoughts. But now, that cycle is breaking. Instead, a quiet confidence rises within you. I know who I am. God knows who I am. That's enough. And just like that, you move forward. That's not pride. That's identity finally finding its place and settling in. You may also catch yourself pausing sometimes, wondering why everything suddenly feels deeper, more serious, why you're the one noticing what others ignore, why pretending feels impossible now, and why, in certain spaces, you feel like the one holding everything steady, like the anchor in the room. That's not random. You were being prepared for this all along, just not in obvious ways. Every time you chose truth instead of appearances, every time you sat with discomfort instead of running from it, every time you walked away from drama instead of feeding it, you were in training. And now you're seeing the results. Another thing you'll notice, noise doesn't impress you anymore. Loud voices, flashy confidence, surface-level charm. It doesn't move you like it used to. Now you look deeper. You pay attention to consistency. You observe how people treat others when there's nothing to gain. In other words, you're starting to see the way God sees. And the more your perspective aligns with His, the more authority you carry, without even trying. So understand this clearly. The opportunities appearing in your life right now are not random chances. They are assignments perfectly aligned with the person you've become. Don't talk yourself out of them. Don't shrink back just because an older version of you feels unqualified. That version of you is no longer in charge. It wasn't invited into this season. This version of you, the one who grew, who endured, who stayed true, that's the one that was called forward. Now comes something new to learn, walking like someone who is already chosen, not someone still waiting to be picked. That changes everything. It means you stop chasing spaces that don't respect your value. You stop over-explaining yourself to people who have already decided not to understand you. You stop trying to prove your growth to those who are committed to seeing your past. Listen carefully, you don't have to perform this new level. You don't need to announce it, defend it, or convince anyone of it. You simply live like someone God trusts. That's the real shift. Trust. God trusted you with pain, and you didn't waste it. You grew through it, even when it was hard, even when no one was watching. Now, you're being trusted with something different, honor. And the expectation remains the same. Faithfulness does so when you feel the weight of this new season. The clarity, the responsibility, the attention. Don't be overwhelmed by it. Remember this, you are not here by accident. You were seen, you were tested, and you were found faithful. The decision has already been made. Your position has changed. Now your life is catching up to that reality. And if something in this message spoke directly to your spirit, take a quiet moment. Acknowledge it. And if you feel it deeply, go ahead and type Amen in the comments. Not just as a word, but as a way of saying, I receive what God is placing on my life. If this message touched your heart, don't keep it to yourself. Subscribe now to the Words of Truth and join a growing family seeking clarity, purpose, and spiritual elevation. New messages that uplift, awaken, and guide you are waiting for you. Hit the subscribe button, turn on the notification bell, and stay connected to what truly matters.